Market update here on the 6th. Getting this out kind of later, but I had some time to look at the charts and get an idea of what I think is going on. So if you remember a few videos ago, I talked about 321 being the top. So far that's played out perfectly. And then in recent videos I said potentially it could go up to 326, maybe even 330. After getting a chance to look at these charts a little bit more in depth, I'm leaning towards we actually probably did top at 321. The reason why is if you look at this chart right here, so let's say this is a 5-wave move. So we have W right here. So normally when I get a first wave or a W wave, especially a W wave, I look where the 1.61 fib is. And just so happens that's at 321 right here, 321.29. So if I was looking for a third wave, that's where my target would be. If I'm looking for how far this could go without being invalidated for a Y wave, it would be 321. We basically hit that perfectly. And I went through the counts here. And here's my count again. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First wave. Second wave doesn't really retrace how I really want it to. It doesn't come back as far, but we clearly get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up here. So that's a third wave. Third wave is longer than a first wave. This third wave is longer than this first wave. And yeah, so labeled 1, 2, 3. This is a pretty deep fourth wave correction, but it does not cross into the first wave. You can see there. So we get a fourth wave, pretty deep correction. And then if we were to measure where we'd expect this to finish at, it's around the 0.5 or 0.6 fib. We go a little bit higher than that, basically right into a supply zone. And we go to the fifth wave and do a count on this. I have this label. I have this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 right here. And if you zoom in on this wave, you can really get into this. Go down to the 5-minute time frame. Very extended fifth wave again is how I read it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it gets into an extension here. So this ends up being a first wave, second wave, breaks outside the parallel line, third wave, fourth wave, and fifth wave up here. And that is at 321.63, basically at 321. And then here's where it gets interesting. We get a 5-wave move down. So this is what bears would like to see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 5-wave move, very clearly. And then this right here looks like a 5-wave move too, but I don't like the slope of it. The slope is pretty much actually on the 5-minute time frame, the slope actually looks good. But either way, it retraces after a 5-wave move. So we know that there's at least going to be a C wave down. It retraces to the 0.61 fib, and it goes into a supply zone. So at the minimum, we know we're going to get this. That's the minimum we can get. So just based on this, we know that there's very little chance it's going to go up here and break the highs on this move right here. We know there's going to be at least a C wave down. And based on how far this retraced, 318.50-ish, it looks like. Top here at 321.50 or 60. We know we're at least going to go $3 less than this. That's 309.95. But then we have a demand zone down here at 308, so we're probably going to hit that demand zone. So we're at least looking at ABC, but bears like the fact that this is a impulsive move down, because we could also get and this could go maybe even all the way down here. If it hits this demand zone, comes down here, it probably would go all the way down to daily demand for a 5-wave move, something like that. And then you're looking at this as potentially the start of the final move down. We have A, W, X, Y. Top here is at 334. The only thing I don't like about that is 13 points lower than this is only 242. And I'm looking for, based on where this X wave came, 333, top here at 409, I'm looking for something about $76 less than 281, around 205. And so that would mean that this would have to go to the 1.61 fib, even though it retraced a lot, which is still possible. And look at this, the 1.61 fib is right around there too. So I think that we're at least at the minimum going to go down to here. So we're looking at minimum 308.36 into this demand zone. If it's 5 waves, we're probably looking at something. Let's see here. So 307.61 would be the target. Pull back to 310.29. We're looking at 303 to 301, but again, it's kind of in no man's land, so it's probably going to extend down here to this demand zone with its 5 waves. So this could easily happen next week. And in fact, the way that it ended into a supply zone right here, and it looks like a retracement for either a B wave or a second wave, I would say very good chance we get a pretty big move down early next week. We can also look at the timing of this. How long did this take to see if this is a B wave or if it's a second wave? So we got Tuesday to Thursday, 2 days, and then this was only 1 day, and it hit the 0.61 fib. So based on that, I would say it's actually more likely that this is a second wave. So I would say this is more likely than ABC, because normally you want to see a B wave take as long as an A wave. Could still be WXY though. X waves don't have to take as long as a W wave, but this is probably pretty likely. So what does that mean? That means also we could be looking at something like that. I don't know where the demand zone's at down here, but that's possible. And then we go higher, or we just go down to the new lows and go down to 200. So it kind of depends on which way it wants to play out. Previous videos, I said that this is more likely right here. That was my thesis. And then I was looking for an expanded flat down going into the end of the summer. But I don't know which one's going to play out. I just know that we're going to at least go down here to 308, 307. But also, I wouldn't be surprised, minimum we come down here to 297 in this daily demand zone. So you can see how that all works out, my thought process. And we'll see which one plays out. SPY is the same thing. So on SPY, I think it finished the 5-wave move. So if we zoom in here, we have WX, and I previously had said this is a third wave, but I went through it again, and this breaks outside the parallel line here. So I think this is a third wave, fourth wave, and then we get a fifth wave up here. That means, and also on QQQ, it was the 1.61 fib, but also you can use bottom here, 389, bottom here at 380, top here at 402, 9 points higher, 411. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so that completes a WXY move right there. And then same as QQQ, we get a very, very unorthodox 5-wave move, if that's what it is. I mean, if you want to call this ABC as well, then I guess that's fine too, because it really is a pretty bad structure. Really bad structure. It's probably ABC, to be honest. So in that case, that makes you think that we're looking at something like this now on SPY. And so yeah, on SPY, looking for this, potentially a 5-wave move, but again, the structure looks more like an A wave on SPY. So then you look at SPY and you go back to QQQ and think, okay, maybe it is an ABC move. So we'll see how it plays out, but I think that on both of them, we're looking at something around at least down here in this demand zone right here at 403.73 to 401. And then after that, it's anybody's guess. We could go that and then go down lower, which I think is actually pretty likely. I was playing around with this too. Here's another possibility. So this is A. And if QQQ is going to go down to 295, well, it doesn't have to. If it goes to 307, 308, then ABC is good enough. But if it comes down here to 295, and it could go down there like this as well. 295 is about almost a 10% move. 10% for SPY is around 380, 385, something like that. So I was playing around with this, and you could get A, B, C, D, E, and then go higher. So this would be A, B, and C higher, and then we would finally drop. So that's something else that could happen. But again, the only thing really right now that we know for fact is that we have impulsive move, pullback. We're going to get at least one more move down early next week on SPY and QQQ. So Tesla, at first glance, looks like an ABC move to me. Kind of a weak bounce though. If it breaks above this supply zone at 188.14, that would also be pretty much to the 0.5 fib. I'm looking for that to hold and then go down for a new low potentially. And if that's the case, then this is probably a 5-wave move as well. But again, it could also bounce from here. We are in a demand zone, so it could go either way. But if it's a 5-wave move, could see something like that. If that happens, then there's a good chance, there's a very good chance that we are starting to move down here to daily demand at 145, which is kind of crazy. A couple days ago, I thought there was no chance of that happening now. But here we are, 207 all the way down to 180 in 3 days, 3 or 4 days. We bounce here, pretty weak bounce, and we could get a 5th wave down. So if that happens, it would look something like this. Most likely. Could be ABC as well. So I'll have to watch Tesla and see if it can bounce out of this daily demand. But based on SPY and QQQ, I would say down is probably the way to go. Another observation here. Microsoft. So if this is WXY, again, same as QQQ, hits exactly at the 1.61 fib of the W wave. So 291, 292, we hit that today perfectly. And so you can look at this either way. But again, it's probably WXY. Because if you zoom in here, WX, then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you watched my videos previously, talked about one more high after hitting 282. And look where it happened. 282, one more high. Hit it perfectly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, another sign that we are topping out. Showing you over and over that we topped out. We'll see if it plays out early next week. From this point on, again, Microsoft not sure what's going to happen. But it did hit the very top of this X wave. So if this is A and this is B, you would think they would only come down here to the bottom of A if it was going to go down to C right now. But there's a few different possibilities. If this is could also be a diagonal. There's a lot to point out in this video. Because, look at this. This parallel line hits perfectly. If you look at this, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you measure right here. This is at 263. 276, it's about 14 points. It's close to about, no, maybe it's 12 points. Is that right? Hold on. 264, basically 277. And then we hit 291, basically the same amount apart. So you could look at this as a diagonal as well. And if this is a diagonal, then we could be looking for either a pullback for a second wave, but honestly, I would say this is more likely. Because the reason this is more likely is because if this was the end of it right here, this is AB, based on where it came back to the X wave, we would only expect it to go down here to the bottom of the A wave. But if it goes up here and makes a B wave higher, then we can measure from the top of here. So 350, we're trying to get down to 206, and the bottom of the move, let's say the bottom is actually right here, then we could look at this as WXY. It could go much higher. And if it goes much higher, then it can come down here and break the low down here to a lower target. So I'm getting into a lot of scenarios here, but all you need to know is it hit the 1.61 fib exactly just like QQQ. Apple is kind of a confusing one to me. It's maybe on Monday it makes one more high, but it looks like only the third wave. Maybe it's a fifth wave. Let's see here. No, it can't be. All I know is it's in a supply zone right now. If it was going to make one more high, that would end up being the fifth wave. But it still has not hit the target yet. Target's 177. So this is really the only confusing one that doesn't fit in with the rest of them. We'll see what happens with it. In a supply zone, I want to see where it goes from here. Expecting down on the other one, so we'll see. Apple should sell off too, I guess. Meta, another one where it played out perfectly. Gone over this a bunch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Fifth wave right here. Hit one of my targets. So again, based on where this went, I would say it's probably going to make a second wave. Back down here to 192 to 187. So based on that, again, I think that a move lower, but not the crash yet, is most likely. Okay, let's go over Amazon. So Amazon, still think 121 is a target. Been saying the same thing every day. Let's see here, 114, 146. It's possible if the market were to crash, like the next crash to finish the bear market, it's possible this is a second wave right here, and we're going to get a third, fourth, fifth down here. But I still think there's more upside. I still think 121. However, it doesn't fit in my narrative on the other stocks, so I got to think down on this one. I got to see, maybe it just comes down here one more time and then goes higher. But again, I'm not sure on Amazon. It's kind of it's been kind of weird compared to the other ones, harder to chart. So let's go over the dollar and I'll call it good. Dollar, I think dollar is either going to be expanded flat higher, so that would look like this, and this would be A, B, and we get a C wave higher. Starts moving towards 107, or again, we're waiting for one more wave down here to probably 100 to 101, something like that, to finish this 5-wave move, in which it could not be longer than, let's see, probably not going to go past 150. So, still waiting on the dollar to make a big move. And I think we have the Fed next week, so that's going to be interesting to see if they are the catalyst that gets this correction going. So pretty much just showed you that I think these probably topped most likely. And I would expect on QQQ at least a correction down here to 295. But at the minimum, 308.30. Next move is almost guaranteed down to here, 304 to 308. On SPY, 401 to 403 is almost guaranteed. The rest of them we'll have to watch, but Microsoft obviously hit the target as well. And so, yeah, I'm expecting early downside early next week. So look for it's a pretty good move right there. Down to 308 off 31. That's about a 3% move down early next week. We'll see if it happens. I don't know. Anyway, on SPY, that would be about, what would that be? It's not going to be as big of a move. It's going to only be like 2.5% move down. So wouldn't be surprised if we sell off into the Fed. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Like, subscribe for more updates, and follow these updates. I've been pretty spot on lately. I'm not saying that I'm always right, but lately I've been pretty spot on. So wouldn't hurt to follow these and make some money for yourself. Anyway, have a good weekend, and make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment as well.